Hey guys, it's Psychosis here, and today I have yet another book review. And today I'll be reviewing the very famous sci-fi book Hyperion by Dan Simmons. And yeah, like I said, this is a very popular book. It won the Hugo Award, and yeah, as you can see, I have a fun copy. It's got a very fun cover. And yeah, I've been wanting to read this book a long time. It's one of those FOMO type books because everyone raves about this book, and I wanted to read it. And it's been sitting, I've had this copy sitting forever, so I finally read it. And so yeah, today I'll be reviewing it. And yeah, and so starting off with this premise of this book, or the world of this book, is pretty extensive. So it takes place hundreds of years in the future, like humanity's in the stars type deal. They've colonized hundreds, if not thousands, of planets, and they're connecting this thing called the web. So everyone's connected and they can transport together. There's lots of AIs helping control everything. Electric cars, spaceships, that kind of thing. Like very futuristic, very advanced. Yeah, hundreds if not thousands of worlds, many different more variations of peoples. And yeah. And so this book takes place in that, and hence the name. This There's a planet called Hyperion. It's like a backwoods world, and this world is like very famous because it's like very harsh, like forests and stuff, and really cool ecosystem. But also there's a lot of like really weird things, like these portals that like alter time. And the main attraction, the spiky boy called the Shrike, and it's this like metallic spiky robot with like glowing red eyes. It's like omnipresent. It like disappears, and it kills people. And there's this weird like cult group that like worships it, and they go on these like host these like pilgrimages to see it, and they treat it like it's a god. They like worship it and revere it and stuff. And nobody knows what it is, but it brings a lot of like fear. And so the premise of this book is there's there's fear of this war with this group of humans that strayed far away because they went to deep space for hundreds of years, and they basically a whole different group of people called the Ousters. Kind of remind me of the Hellgas from Killzone because they get so far away from everyone else, they just kind of changed into something else entirely compared to how normal humans are. And so there's worry about war on Hyperion with the Ousters. And so this group of 7 pilgrims, they go on this pilgrimage. It's supposed to last one to go meet the Shrike. And they all have a story and connection to the Shrike or why they're there. And so since they had to spend several days heading to where the Shrike is, or where its like main temple is built in honor of it at these tombs, the time tombs, like the weird portals that I was talking about. They all tell their story, and so each chapter is basically them telling their story and why this planet and the Shrike have any significance to them. And it's a really good book because that it's just really fun because each story is different, but it's all connected one way or the other, and it all really comes connected at the end. And it makes it fun because each story is like a different genre of sci-fi. So the one character, Colonel Kassad, is like military sci-fi and battling the Ousters. And then you have like Braun Lamia basically doing mystery investigation. Her story got silly in places, but yeah, she was basically investigating the murder of an AI type cyborg thing. And then yeah, and then there's a story where the guy's daughter is reverse aging. And then you have Sol Wintraub, his daughter's like reverse aging. That one was alright. And then you have Martin Silinas, who has like this weird connection with the Shrike, and he's like a like crazy poet, and so his story is like really more poetic. And yeah, the writing style is different for all of them too. Like he wrote different style of writing for each of the stories, so it's not just like reading a normal text. The stories play out differently. And then there's the Father Hoyt, the Catholic priest story, and his at the beginning, his story was actually my favorite one because that one was just like absolutely bonkers. Like that one was really good. And then there's the council story at the end, and he's kind of like So you get one of the main characters, but he kind of feels like the main character since it starts with him or his point of view. This book, and so he tells his story and stuff. And yeah, it was just a really good book, and it plays out since like a story. Because of that, though, one flaw with this book is the pacing can jump, so you can get the points that are like really fast and then really slow. Like the parts when they're not telling the story is very slow. They're just kind of like moving from one place to another because they're together for like several days because it's like they have to travel for like several days for this pilgrimage to get where they need to be. And then there's supposed to be seven, but like something happens to one of the characters, so then it's six. And yeah, so the one character he doesn't get to explain his story. He's part of like some group that's like all about like trying to restore plant life and stuff. And yeah, so it's the six stories, and each book is divided into like six big chapters, and each chapter has a story for each of the characters in the order that they drew their cards for or numbers for. So they tell their story, and that's the book. And throughout the way, you get it just by telling the story, you learn about the world and the premise of the story, the background, lore of this fictional, futuristic humanity long after Hijira, because the Earth gets destroyed. Yeah, that's the premise of it. So basically, the Earth that leads to humanity in space as actually in the future, 200 years in the future, the Earth gets destroyed in what's called the Hijira, and humanity's for old Earth, as they refer to it, or in our case, Earth gets destroyed. So they have to go to the stars, and that's what really pushes humanity in space and things like that. It's kind of fun. But like I said, the pacing, one flaw is the pacing kind of jumps. And there's goofy things, both in good and bad ways. Like there's a reference to another famous sci-fi book that I have yet to read, but I know of it because it's really famous. It's mentioned in here, and it made me laugh. And yeah, but then there's also like weird, goofy little bits that like, well, why is that there? Whatever. And yeah, and those kind of bring the book down, the goofy bits and the pacing, honestly. But in terms of like world building and like the structure of the world that Hyperion, I don't necessarily agree with everything this future society has, but it's a pretty cool like world. And the strike is really cool. It's not mentioned very much. There's only like one chapter where it's really doing anything, one story, and then a few instances in other stories where it appears. They just talk about it, but it doesn't really like do much in this book. But it's still really cool. The strike is really cool. And then there's like, yeah, and then the biggest flaw of this book though isn't those though. The biggest flaw that really could have made this book even better is actually the ending. Because the book just kind of ends. I thought the ending was going to be more exciting with how it was going, but it just kind of ends and leads way to the second book. But I kind of wish there was just a little bit more to make the ending off more exciting. And then there's supposed to be this twist. There's this big twist at the end of the book, but I had predicted what the twist was gonna be like within the first 60 pages of the book, and so it kind of just like wasn't as exciting. It was still really good though, but I could have been even better. Yeah, it could have been even better if wasn't surprised. But I'm like, oh, I predict that this is gonna happen, or this character, the twist of one of the characters. I'm like, oh yeah, it's that guy. Is this? And then sure enough, the ending of the book reveals what I already had predicted. And yeah, so that is basically most of what I can really say about this book. Besides that, I love this cover. It's a very pretty wraparound cover. And then like the strike. Yeah. This is actually a series, like I said, the Hyperion Cantos. This is the first book. But everyone says this is the best one. But like I said, I want to read someday I want to read the others to see. But I really like this book. Besides the goofy bits and the ending could have been better, and the twist not having as deep of an impact on me as it could have been because I had predicted. what the twist was gonna be really early on. This book could have been even better than it already is, but I actually really like this book. I really enjoyed it. And of the 3 books was reading at the moment, this is my second favorite one. There's another one I'm about to finish that is my favorite of the 3. But they're all good books. But this one is definitely my second favorite one. It's a very good sci-fi book. Will I say it's my favorite one or the best? Or I mean, it's really good. I mean, I can see where people put it up high up on the top of sci-fi books. Is it my favorite of all time? No. This book did not take the crown from Solaris on that. Solaris is still my number 1, but it's still an excellent book. If you ever were to read this book is pretty popular, like I said. And yeah, it won the Hugo Award, huge award in sci-fi. People love this book. And yeah, to remember my final review, I will give it a 9 out of 10. An excellent book, excellent sci-fi book. If you love sci-fi and haven't read it, I would highly recommend reading it. And yeah, and also that this is the first book in a series. There's 4 books. I haven't read the other 3, but maybe someday I will. But if you read this as a standalone book, it does hold up very well. But the ending will kind of be like, oh, I wish there was more, and that's probably why he wrote more. Because it's like, oh, there's got to be more at the end. That's the only issue, is the way the ending is. Major bit at the ending that could have made it better. Because the ending could have made this book a little bit better, but it is still an excellent book. I would highly recommend reading it, especially if you like sci-fi books. And since that's all I read besides fantasy, I would highly recommend it. And yeah, it's a very good book. And yeah, see, the mass market paperback is very fun. It's nice and small, and it has a fun cover. And I'm glad I finally read it. But yeah, that'll be my review for Hyperion. 9 out of 10. An excellent book. It's not perfect by any means. It's not the best forever, but I can see why people put it high on their list.